When you finally find your thing, you want the whole world to know about that thing. So you use a thing called Canva to make it an even bigger and better thing. Whether you want to create flyers for that thing, make presentations for that thing, or design merch for that thing, you can do anything. So people can see your thing, feel your thing, love your thing. The next thing you know, it's a thing. Canva, the thing that makes anything a thing.
Study and play come together on a Windows 11 PC. And for a limited time, college students get the best of both worlds. Get the Unreal College Deal. Everything you need to study and play with select Windows 11 PCs. Eligible students get a year of Microsoft 365 Premium and a year of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with a custom color Xbox wireless controller. Learn more at windows.com/student offer. While supplies last. Ends June 30th. Terms at aka.ms/collegepc.
These are famous songs that were about true events that no one knew what they were actually singing about. And the first one is the song The Way by Fastball. This is like a classic 90s song, and it was actually about an elderly couple that lived in Salado, Texas, and they weren't found for 13 days, and they were found hundreds of miles away from their home at the bottom of a ravine in Arkansas. So the couple was Leela and Raymond Howard. Now, Leela was 83 years old and Raymond was 86. He was just recovering from a brain surgery, and Leela had the early signs of like dementia and Alzheimer's. Now, they were going to go to a fiddle festival, which was only about 15 minutes away from their home. And obviously the dementia/Alzheimer's set in, and they just left. That goes back to the song on The Way. It was saying, where were they going without even knowing the way is a line from the song. And she did. She got completely lost, ended up in Arkansas, and they drove off of a cliff and ended up about 30 feet down in a ravine. The sad part about this is they were pulled over 2 different times by law enforcement and giving warnings for not having their headlights on driving in the dark.
So good, so good, so good.
New markdowns up to 70% off are at Nordstrom Rack stores now. Stock up and save big on shoes, tops, dresses, accessories, and more must-haves for summer. Join the Nordy Club to unlock exclusive discounts, shop new arrivals first, and more. Plus, buy online and pick up at your favorite Rack store for free. Great brands, great prices. That's why you Rack.
This episode is brought to you by Fox One. Watch all 104 matches of the FIFA World Cup live in 4K for just $19.99 a month with 3 days free. Build your own multi-view, choose up to 3 streams, and follow player spotlights. Stay on top of every moment with live stats, highlights, and instant replays. The FIFA World Cup, streaming live on Fox One. Offers are subject to change. See fox.com for complete terms and conditions.
It could have been prevented. Now, if they seemed completely normal, both times they were only given warnings. If they seemed completely normal, I'm sure the police officers were just like, they thought it was just an old person that was a little confused or just forgot to turn their lights on and it wasn't really a big deal. This was one of the times it needed to become a big deal because they had no idea where they were. Like if there was any kind of questioning done, they would have kind of figured out like, oh, you were supposed to go to a music festival right outside of your house and you're in 2 states away from your home. Like it's just, they were pulled over a couple times. And just, you can't really blame the police officers in this because if they seem normal, then there's nothing more you could have done. People are going to hate me for saying this, but I've always said since I was a little kid that once you reach the age of like somewhere in your 70s, especially age of 75, you just have to retake your driver's license test like every other year. Studies show that around age 75, eyesight, hearing, reaction time slows and diminishes greatly. I mean greatly. And like, for example, here in Oklahoma, you just go in and essentially reapply and there's really no one's getting in the car with you and like making you do the test again. Like, my driver's license says that I have to wear glasses. Okay. A lot of times people are not even asked to retake the eye test. When I got my driver's license just the other day here in Oklahoma, no one retook my eye test. Like no one did it. And no one checked. It's been 18 years since anyone's checked my eyesight for my driver's license. And I promise you it's worse. You Ought to Know by Alanis Morissette is my favorite one on this list because that breakup song that she sings, You Ought to Know, I mean, that's like one of the best breakup songs ever. It was just a banger of the 90s and early 2000s. Like that song was everywhere. It's about Joey Gladstone from Full House. Like Uncle Joey, that goofy bastard. That's who this song is about. Okay, so They dated for 2 years. She was obsessed with him, obviously. It didn't help that she was only 18 years old and he was 33. At the time, she was not that well established. She was still pretty underground. He was very well established, obviously, already in Full House. So she kind of, was a little starstruck and got kind of obsessed with him. And then he broke up with her. And she wrote that absolute crusher of You Ought to Know. And then, of course, she came out with like a million other like big songs. The problem with Alanis Morissette, though, is that she had after that is she went from overnight stardom. She said that she was like kind of underground famous in Canada, like no one would stop her in the streets, like no one would know who she was. And then when that record came out, that album came out, she was like, overnight, I could not even go to the store and get groceries without getting swarmed and stopped, and just everybody just like bothered me all the time. And then she said, I went on an 18-month tour. And she said there was people all around me, but I never felt more alone. And she was having daily panic attacks and daily anxiety attacks, and she never wanted that much fame that fast. She was like, it would have probably been better if there was like a slow, gradual rise into it. But she goes, I was a young kid and essentially went from nobody knows me to you literally can't escape my name and my face all over the pop magazines and the radio and just everywhere. Paparazzi's following her, and she absolutely chose to step away from the spotlight, and that's why you never heard her really make music after the first few years she was out. Her Diamonds by Rob Thomas was a really good like song. It's kind of like one of those love ballad songs. It's incredibly sad. It's about his real-life wife who has an autoimmune disorder, and she deals with extreme pain essentially every moment of her life. And the song is about how helpless he feels because he's supposed to be the husband, the protector, the provider, and there's literally nothing he can do except watch her kind of wither away and have all this pain and anguish, and there's nothing he can do to take that pain from her, though he wishes he could. If you watch the interview with him talking about this, it is incredibly emotional and powerful. And she's actually a really good singer on her own. Her name is Marisol, and she's a very talented singer, but because of her autoimmune disorder, she never really got to, pursue that. And the female vocals to that song are really his wife. What's really wild about that is like me and you and people that live in Oklahoma and pretty much all over the United States have been bit by ticks before, and that's where her autoimmune disorder comes from. It is late-stage neurological Lyme disease, which is often transmitted by being bit by a tick. That just freaks me out because like what freaks me out about that is like that Lyme disease can lay dormant in you without showing any symptoms for years and years and years. You could have it right now and just don't know it because it hasn't activated yet. Like, oh. Hey Yeah by Outkast is one of the most like positive, upbeat songs ever. But the song is actually really messed up what it's about. So he doesn't say who it's about, but he says it's about like some family members or some close friends that are in an extremely toxic relationship with each other, but neither one of them will break up with the other one, mainly just because of like stubbornness of like they don't want to see that girl with another guy, and the girl doesn't want to see that guy with another girl, and they stay with each other even though it's awful for their kids, it's awful for each other, it's awful for everybody around them, it's extremely toxic, but they just keep going further and further and further into this relationship together, and like everybody can see it plainly that they should not be together, that they are dragging each other down, they're causing each other abuse emotionally, verbally, and physically, it's just a bad situation, and they need to leave each other, but neither one of them will. And when they do leave each other, they just keep going right back to each other. Like, that's what that song's about. And I did not know that at all, but just go look up the lyrics. Some real fast ones here is Fire and Rain by James Taylor was about a lifelong friend that actually took her own life. And that song is dedicated to her. Smoke on the Water by Deep Purple is literally about they were at a concert, actually. And there was a casino where this concert was happening at, and somebody fired off a flare in the casino, and it set the casino on fire. They ran outside, and there was literally smoke drifting across the water because it was like right next to like a lake in Sweden, of all places. That's some rich people stuff right there.